Monkey Man, you want to know if wild dogs are diurnal or nocturnal? They're most certainly diurnal, but they hunt crepuscularly, which means they will move in the heat, at least not in the heat of the day, but in the coolth of the dawn and the dusk. I'm just going to quickly get an update now from Johan. I don't know where he is. Sydney's Junction, Sandy Patch. Okay, I've got to realize they're in here. They are north of the boundary one, so I'm sure we'll get a view. But how good that view will be, I don't know. There they come. No. No. There. On the road, coming across onto our reserve. Hooray! Aha! There they come. Just wave at your hand there. It's brilliant stuff, everybody. They're going to come across the clearing now. There they go. They're on the hunt. Here we go. There's some impala in front of us. The dogs are coming from there. Dave, there come the dogs. The impala running straight past the front of us there. Here come the dogs. There go the impala. We're going to try and follow now. Are you ready, Dave?
Yep.
Here we go. Hold on tight, everyone. Does get very thick in here. See that funny way that the impala are running? There come more dogs to the left. Here, there's another impala. 2 dogs in front. That's chaos. Absolute chaos. Running through here. I think they've killed. Here we go. 2 of them. They're all 4 after 1 impala now. There they go. Dogs still in front of us. I know it's difficult to see. 4 dogs in front of us. Here, the impala. Ooh, watch. The impala. Dogs. 2 dogs chasing those impala. Hold on, Dave. Let's just listen now. The dogs need their ears, so we have to switch off as often as we can. Here's a dog right to the right-hand side of us. 2 of them coming back. They'll be listening to see if the others have killed. If the others have killed, there'll be a great twittering noise. Can you see these ones here, Dave?
No.
Just go there right in front of us. There's another one there. Okay, now they're running to this way. They're running down to the south. There in front of us. There they go. 2 over there. 1 in front. You can smell them, that wonderful wet dog smell. Half of them went off into these massive thickets here. I'm just going to switch off. There's 1 in front of us. It is very important that we give them time to listen, everyone. They have those huge ears for a very good reason. They need to listen to each other. There will be a contact call if the rest of them get separated. If the others are eating, if they've killed something, there'll be that loud twittering sound. And so when possible, we need to turn the engine off and not rev too loudly. Yep. Now they're running again. To the right, to the left of us, Dave. Oh dear. Here we go. Oh dear. Oh, come on. Come on, Wendy. No, come on. I don't believe this. Okay, hold on. Here we go. They're all coming back this way now. 2 more have come from the front of us, left across the road here. And here come more now. Dave, there's 1 in front, 2 to the left. 1 relieving himself, obviously, as do all animals seemingly when I'm around them. And this is interesting. It's not so much territorial behavior. This is fantastic. They will mark like that, though, just to let the others know that they're there. Whew, and there is a real rush. A real rush. My heart rate is up immediately. You start off these mornings soporific and kind of, just getting into the day in a gentle fashion, which is completely unlike the dogs. I've seen something behind me. This is amazing. Isn't this fantastic? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here. They're listening. The others, of course, have went off into the pier. Here they come. They're coming from the right. Dave, we've got the others coming through the thicket here. And I wonder if the alpha isn't amongst those, because they seem to be still very busy. These others are just hanging on. They're just kind of hanging about the place. And Natasha, you want to know which pack this is? I think this is the Investec pack. They're down to about 8. I don't know if you saw that one jumping up there to look over into the thickets. I'm amazed the impala got away there. I really thought they were going to get one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 so far. I think there are just 8 dogs. I believe they lost a few. They had a fight. It seemed a few of them had bite marks, and maybe they had a fight with some hyenas, possibly even some lions, but most probably hyenas. Now they are listening very carefully. Those big ears are a major thing in their lives. Of course, you don't evolve ears like that for no reason. And I think that their ears play an even greater part in their lives than we think they do. Isn't this wonderful? All you can hear is the call of the Birchall starling going, wow, wow. Otherwise, everything is quiet. The bush is kind of shocked there. Look, that one, Dave's got an injury on his shoulder. See there? Straight in front of us? Yeah, nasty injury there. Oh, yes. That's interesting. I don't think it's life-threatening at all, but it is definitely evidence of some physical trauma. It looks like one of the youngsters to me, one of the young females from the previous litter. And they're just very nicely to the left here. Look how this one is hidden behind that log. He's very cleverly cosseted himself behind a log, where he becomes almost log-like, really. Now, I think they will wait for the alpha. They will wait for the alpha male to decide what to do. And he will tell them what to hunt and when to hunt it. And Megan, while we see them lying here, you're interested in how much recovery time they might need between sprints. Megan, they are capable, in theory, of running sort of 13 kilometers, which is about, well, in miles. In miles, that's probably about 8 or 9 miles at supposedly a top speed, and before they get too tired. So that little sprint that they did here, I think is almost negligible from an energy balance point of view. What is interesting, though, is the latest research is showing precisely what we've just seen here. A lot of them gave half-hearted chases. They didn't actually follow through on a hunt. And so while you might see that as a fail, others would say, well, it wasn't really serious. Now, it seems that in only sort of 16% of times that these wild dogs see an animal and give semi-chase like they did there, do they actually catch. But because they very quickly assess whether or not it's going to be a successful hunt, they are actually much more successful than a lot of other predators, because per distance run, they intake a lot more energy than many of the other predators. Now, the other thing to notice there is that there wasn't teamwork there. That didn't look like teamwork to me, and I've just read that their teamwork is a lot more suspect than we think it is. So basically what we saw them doing there was just herring after a herd of impala. They went in all different directions. There was no coordination. Nobody followed the alpha male on his hunt. And so 3 went off one way, 2 went off one way, 1 stood there looking confused. His impala ran everywhere, stotting about. You saw them kicking their back legs out there. And maybe the 3 adults went off in a coordinated fashion, but the rest ran around like headless chickens. And I think that's because it probably, the spreading the efforts of the pack are probably more effective than one of them homing in on one impala. And I'm pretty sure they're going to hunt again. Right, while we wait for them to decide what to do next, let's nip across to Steph, say hi to him. He's on foot, and we'll be back just now. Look at the one day they're chewing on the log. And I think they've probably had that recovery time there now, and they'll think about going again. It's not guaranteed that they'll kill, but it is highly likely that in this kind of hunting foray, while they might not kill every time they chase, they will probably kill. They are, unfortunately, now look to be heading in a northerly direction, which is back towards Buffelshoek. So, I mean, they came from here. They went up the main axis where we drove, and then they came back towards Sydney's Dam. They've run back south. So they're obviously patrolling these clearings. They know these clearings are full of impala, and so now they're patrolling them. I find it very difficult to identify who's who in this pack. It's not easy to know who the alpha male is. I think that's him up front. He's got the scaffy ears. Although, the pack has just been... Oh, he's so close. Look at that. He's only about, I don't know, 3 meters, 10 feet. There they go. Look at them. Heading off like a team. They are the most beautiful animals. Alrighty, let's move. Come on, Wendy. Come on, Wendy. No, Wendy, don't do that to me. Come on, my girl. Come on. No. No. There we go. Okay, we're okay. Oh, they're going north, I'm afraid, across our boundary, I think. Well, we've had a great view, even if we don't see them again after this. Just saying thanks to Johan there, because he found them. Felicity, yes, they are quite closely related to our normal dogs, but they don't bury food and cache it for later, no. They're actually one of the few animals that don't. Many canids do, jackals will do that, but Felicity, wild dogs won't bury food, no. There we have them all. Thinking about what to do next, and of course you can never predict what these things are going to do. They're always going off in different directions from the direction you think. They might be covering themselves here in fresh impala dung, which will take away their own smell. Some of them crossing the boundary already. And now they're getting back on the hunt. Sherry, you say not even a pant. No, not much of a pant at all, Sherry. This guy's doing, whose dung he's rolling in. They might be rolling in their own urine. In fact, that's exactly what that is. That's their own urine there. Here we go. Here we go. Back on the hunt. They're crossing the boundary, everybody. Going towards Sydney's Dam. We can't follow them there, I'm afraid. But they'll be having thoughts of the meal coming down to drink. Listening. Remember. Becky, I think that you'll find your latter postulation is the correct one. You say, is there any pattern to their patterns? Or is it just kind of random arrangements of colours? It is kind of random. No two dogs are the same. The only thing that is consistent in probably 95% of wild dogs is that white tail tip. I've seen 2 males with black tail tips before, but normally it's the white tail tip. There they go off into Buffelshoek. And that, I'm afraid, is going to be the last we see of them. We'll zoom in on them for as long as we can. They came a long way down into Vuyatela, you know, even before the dawn broke. So although we said they are crepuscular hunters, and this is being evidenced by what they're doing now, they will clearly move before dawn. They'll move before it gets light. I'm amazed they didn't catch any of those impala. And some of the impala were just kind of standing around the place. And then they do that stotting thing, or they kick their back legs out. Now, unfortunately, we couldn't bring the super zoom camera. It's giving a bit of an issue, so this is about as long as our lens gets this evening, at least this morning. I think it's worth just sticking around here. I think they'll probably have a bit of a drink there. Might get a slightly better view if we go forward, but I don't think so. There they are. 2 of them at least. Thinking about having a drink. There's a spoonbill here, otherwise there's nothing else for them to eat. And around us the dawn chorus is starting. A kind of tension of the dogs streaming through the area, which tends to shut everything up. It's almost dissipated. Oh, I can, you know what I can see? Just keep the camera there, Dave. If you go slightly to the right-hand side of where you are now. Yeah, stop there. Yeah, you can't see it. I can see it just with the binoculars that I'm using. There's a water buck just sticking his head up over the top of the damn wall to see what's going on there. She's disappeared now. She thought better of coming down for a drink now. So she popped her head up, thought, oh dear, no, we'll have a drink later. Siberia, you say it's surprising how much more successful a hunter is when it just dashes at its prey rather than taking the time to stalk. Now, you're talking about the traditional thought of the success of leopards and lion hunts versus those of wild dogs. I think this latest research is showing that our initial impressions of how successful dogs are is incorrect. And I think there are trade-offs to both. You know, obviously this is a high-risk strategy. You cannot employ the strategy that these guys do unless you have a large number of you, because it is kind of a random shotgun approach where you throw the whole pack at a whole herd of impala and hope that one gets taken down. as opposed to a much more solitary strategy, which would be that of, say, a leopard, which will pick a mark, pick a victim, and then take a huge amount of time and patience to then catch that mark. And I think that the latest research showing just exactly how successful they are at hunting shows that the approach is not necessarily that much more effective than the stalk approach. But the big difference between something like this and a cheetah is that the amount of energy they're able to recoup from their kills is probably greater than that of a cheetah. So although a cheetah kills 26% of the time that it chases, the amount of energy that it expends in order to make that kill is far greater proportionally than, say, a wild dog's is. I think that is also quite a nice way of explaining, or does go some way to explaining why it is that wild dogs are so endangered. We talk about disease, and that makes a big difference. Canine distemper and rabies and various other diseases that these dogs are susceptible to, the persecution that certainly farmers gave them in history. I think that makes a big difference. But I think you will also find that they are not quite as successful at hunting as we thought they were. That's wonderful. I know that it's a long way off, everyone, but isn't it great to see those beautiful painted dogs standing on the wall there? Absolutely, James Richard, you're quite correct. Nothing quite wakes you up like wild dogs on the hunt. You'll be driving sort of lazily up the Vuyatela access road, suddenly there are tracks, and your adrenaline rush immediately sends you into a state of complete alertness. I think it's worth sitting here another 5 minutes or so just to see what they do. Penny Pine, you're worried about Sam's elephant, which is the sort of effigy sitting on the front of the dashboard here. You want to know what I would do? I would have done if it had flown off while we were chasing the dogs. Penny, it would have been a tough thing. I don't know that I would have. Yeah, I mean, we can't really leave Sam's elephant out in the bush, could we? And we'd probably not find it again. So it would have been a really tough decision as to whether we follow the dogs or stop and say, no, just quickly get Sam's elephant. Good point. I'll probably remove it off the dashboard next time the dogs are on the hunt.
Don't see them.
They're there. They're still on the wall there. In Charlotte and Port Elizabeth, what you may well have noticed, and I think this has precipitated your question as they disappeared down there off the dam wall, is do the animals alarm call at wild dogs? And it was probably precipitated by the fact that there were no impala alarm calls. Impala don't alarm call at dogs, they just run. They don't even think about alarming, they just get out of the way. Birds, likewise. It seems to be the cats largely, well, and the snakes obviously, and birds of prey, that the other animals alarm call at. I've never heard, I don't think I've heard squirrels having a go at dogs. I might have. I've never heard impala alarm calling when the dogs are on the hunt. If they were to come into a clearing and there were dogs standing there, they probably would alarm call. But because they know that the dogs are not stalking predators, so the dogs will run at them from any distance. There's no point in them alarm calling. They just have to get out of the way fast. Whereas with a leopard, once the alarm call has the effect of telling the leopard also that it's been spotted. And so once the leopard's been spotted, it will normally slink away. And so the impala is saying, hey, I've spotted you, I can see you, I know you there. And that has the effect of reducing or de-escalating the situation of conflict between the leopard and the impala. Whereas with these guys, because they don't stalk, there's no point in them doing that. All right, everyone. Well, that's our wild dog sighting for the morning. We'll keep you posted if they come back towards the south. Otherwise, let's go and see what else we can find. We'll drive a line along the northern boundary here. try and pick up some tracks. Wendy now is not so shocked. She's able to start. Chris, you're interested in... I think it's much too early. Late April, I'd say maybe period, which was sort of July time. Yeah, so I mean, pregnancy has been reported in the SANS pack. I don't know about this one, not denning yet. I think June, but I think that even that would be very early. So I think it's highly unlikely. I'm pretty sure that we've got 3 adults left in this pack and 8 of the original pack. At least 8 of the, not 8, now only 5 of the original pups. Anyway, we're going to drive along here, see if there are any more tracks coming across, if they don't double back towards the south. While we do that, let's go across to Steph.